Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If my most recent Ghost Recon video is any indication, there are many of us out there yearning for a tactical shooter to come in and take our breath away. Also, that Ghost Recon video was my most hyped video to date. So just a huge thank you to all of you who've supported that video and support the channel. So thank you so much. So if you're like me and you enjoy tactical shooters with high amounts of realism, but you also want a balance of accessibility, then boy oh boy, do I have some good news for you. If you haven't seen it by now, this is Gray Zone Warfare. They've already dropped a couple different trailers, and I'll link them down below so you can check them out for yourself, but you'll be seeing most of the footage, if not all of it, in this video right now. Gray Zone Warfare is an immersive tactical first-person shooter with a maximum focus on realism. You can join a private military company and navigate a vast open world setting alone or in a squad. You must adapt to your surroundings, use tactics to your advantage, and fight against other human operators and AI-controlled enemies. The basic premise of Gray Zone Warfare is this. Following a mysterious event that took place on an island in Southeast Asia, the entire area has been put under international quarantine. With almost all the civilian population evacuated by the United Nations, 3 PMCs are tasked by their enigmatic clients to explore the region, uncover its secrets, and bring back anything of value. To start off, obviously, we've only seen a couple trailers and there is much more to come and to be revealed about Gray Zone Warfare, but with the information I do have and some of the recent things that I've seen and the people I've talked to, I am super excited for Gray Zone Warfare, and I'm super excited to see what comes in the next few months and with everything leading up to an early access release. I actually had the great privilege of talking to the head of communications at Madfinger Games, the studio developing Gray Zone Warfare. So huge shout out to Madfinger Games and a huge shout out to Rick, their head of communications, for having a conversation with me about what we can expect in Gray Zone Warfare and some of the things that are planned to be in the game. So something that they emphasized a lot is that this is a PvEVP game. Now most people say that as PvPvE, but Rick made it very clear that their main priority is creating a world in which we can fight enemy AI that are realistic, that are challenging, and that ultimately just make the world feel alive. PvP is still going to be a huge element of the game, but I think the ultimate goal is to have a game where it could stand on its own without other players, so that other players will only add to the value of the game and not be the primary focus. One of the other biggest points that he mentioned that this is going to be a sandbox style shooter. So ultimately, they want you to play the game the way you want to play it. If you want to push an enemy outpost, guns blazing, go for it. If you want to go with a more stealthy route and use more tactical approaches, then you have every ability to do so and to tailor it to whatever fits your team the best. I think one of the most exciting things about this that caught my attention is that it is an open world game, but it's also a persistent world. So even when you're not playing, things are happening, things are going on in the world, and just because you're not logged on doesn't mean that the world stops. Now, just some things to mention as we're looking at these trailers. In a few of these clips, you see a little bird come in to pick up a squad, little birds flying around the map. I will give you all the information that I have right now. From what I was told, there are no operable vehicles in the game. There are no cars, there are no planes, boats, helicopters, nothing that can be manned by the actual player. Those helicopters will be used as transport to different points around the island, different LZs that you have to get to, secure, be extracted from, and land at. With the major focus on realism, there's a few things that I wanted to point out that are really interesting and that I'm super excited about. The first is the weapon mechanics. You can craft your ideal weapon, modify, swap, or add parts for versatile performance in any situation. They've also implemented advanced simulation of external and terminal ballistics, ensuring accuracy by using real-world data for ammunition and protective materials. So again, a lot of these games that we play that may be lacking in certain areas, this should hopefully be a step in the right direction to show us what those mechanics should feel like and should look like. You can see in some of these clips from the trailers a unique health system, kind of similar to Escape from Tarkov, where you have to use different medical items for different injuries, things like that. You wrapping a bandage, pulling out a surgical kit, that kind of thing. So that'll be really neat to have a health system like that, where it feels a little more gritty, a little more realistic, and you feel like your injuries actually mean something. Each injury has the potential to impact perception and performance. You have to identify the injury and solution to survive and help teammates. These injuries include bruises, bleeding wounds, broken bones, damaged organs, and pain, and players also need to manage their energy and hydration. We can see that with some clips of them eating food, taking a drink from a canteen, things like that. So energy levels, hydration levels. I believe in one of these clips you see a radiation level, so that'll be kind of interesting to see where that comes from. Also, one thing to point out, if you haven't noticed already, these trailers are pre-alpha footage, but it's actual gameplay footage. And for a pre-alpha, this game looks amazing. The overall setting is beautiful, but the trees, the bushes, just every little detail looks super ironed out, even in just a pre-alpha version. As far as story goes, there is a story, but from my conversations and from what we see in these trailers, and because it's a sandbox style game, the story isn't going to be the biggest driving factor of what you do, but it could influence what happens on the map, what happens to you and your team. There will be tasks that you have to perform as part of the story, so it'll definitely be an influence, but at the same time, since it is a sandbox style, you have the option to do what you'd like. Getting a little bit more into the actual structure of the maps and the game sessions. So there are 3 factions to choose from, and there'll be 16 players per faction, totaling up to 48 players on one map. You can also expect over 1,000 AI enemies in the world, including factions, bandits, military, etc. But however, since it is also PvP, you never know when another player PMC faction might be looming around the corner. The game style honestly kind of reminds me of DayZ, where, and me and Rick were having this conversation as well, where you may run into a player squad and you have to make a decision. You may decide to use proximity chat, which it will have. Use proximity chat to talk to them, see if you want to work together, see if you want to go your separate ways, or similar to DayZ, which happens most of the time to me anyway, they may just start shooting right away and you'll find yourself in a gunfight. There may be times where you play for hours and you don't see another player, but there may be other times where specific points of interest may draw the attention of multiple squads. So I've been seeing this game get compared to Escape from Tarkov quite a bit because there is a very vague extraction element to it, but from what Rick was saying, it's very loose. Like there is, obviously you're looting, trying to get better gear, things like that, but you're never really leaving the map. You're never really fully extracting out of the world. The way he explained it is that each faction will have a base, and you can use your base as kind of a place to store your things, as kind of a safe zone to take a break from the chaos. So in that vein, there is an element of extraction, but the beauty of it is that because Gray Zone Warfare is an open world sandbox, there is no sort of raid timer like there is in Tarkov where you have to get out by a certain time. The world is ever persistent, so you can jump in, jump out, the world will go on with or without you. So that is all I have for now on Gray Zone Warfare, but I am super excited. This is definitely a game that I'm looking forward to, and something I'll be keeping my eye on in the next few months. I do know that they're planning content drops, I think at least once a month, so keep an eye out for more content to come. I think the next content we can expect will focus more on the lore and the story of the world of this fictional island in Southeast Asia. So that'll be interesting to see how that story will impact gameplay and the overall decisions that you make. So let me know in the comments if you were excited as well, what your thoughts are. You should be able to wishlist Gray Zone Warfare on Steam if you would like to, but I definitely recommend checking it out, keeping an eye on it, looking out for updates, because I think that this game may very well be the tactical shooter that's also accessible enough to have a big player base, which will create a really cool dynamic when it comes to the actual gameplay. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to not miss any upcoming content. You guys are the best. And as always, good hunting.